Good morning. Our hand today is going to be pocket sixes. This is a 5NL game. We are 7-handed. Folds to me in the cutoff. I open raise to 6 and folds to the big blind who calls. So this is my cutoff raising range, open raising range. It's pretty wide. It attacks players that tend to fold too much. This player's playing 21-16. I've got him as orange. We have to kind of be aware of him. He looks to be kind of a tight aggressive type player. VPIP from big blinds 25%. Pre-flop he calls 29% from the big blind. He raises 6%, so 1 out of 17 is his 3-bet stat from the big blind. So I kind of think that from the big blind against the raise, he's probably 3-betting like queens plus ace king. Not too common, but he's probably raising those hands. And then he's looking at calling, like suited aces, suited kings, suited connectors, suited one gappers, and so forth. This is 29%. We could kind of narrow it down if we wanted to. Maybe get rid of like the suited kings just to get it down closer to like 27-26%. I think that's suitable, but I'm just going to leave it here right now. So we've got a big range versus a slightly smaller range in this hand. The flop comes down 10-5-4, so we figure that no one's really gonna hit this hard. I think we both have like 10s, 5s, and 4s. We both have possibility for ace 10. Both of us have the possibility for like a 6-7, so open ender. Both of us have diamond draws. I think I have more junk in my hand, more cards that will likely fold or should be folding here than villain, just because I have a wider range to begin with. So villain leads out. He donks, and this is the first time that he's donked in this game. Let's see. Looks like I've got the notes here. So typically when a player leads out like this, it is not any of these strong hands. The top pair could lead. If it leads, it's something like one of these top pair with a weaker kicker, or one of these middle pairs, like lower pairs type hands, where they're trying to judge. In his mind, he's thinking that I missed, so he's going to lead to try to get me to fold. I don't think people typically lead draws, so usually it's going to be at least a one pair type hand. So I'm going to say that this is his range. We've got the top pair here. I'm not even entirely confident that you have like a queen 10, jack 10 in his range, but I think that's pretty typical. And then it comes to me, and we know that, and we could fold. I think we're going to be folding some of our hands that just don't connect at all. I think we should be continuing with any of our pairs, any of our good draws, even some of like our over pairs. Now the question is, should we be calling? Should we be raising here? So I kind of feel like flush draws are probably going to be raises. I'm sorry, calls. I don't think we want to raise here and then get 4-bet. So if we raise, we're raising it up to like 10 to 12. If he comes over the top and rate makes it, let's say 24, we're going to probably have to get rid of the flush. I mean, at that point, he's representing trips at a minimum 2 pairs, so probably like 5-4. But he's representing trip 4s, trip 5, trips 10s. And I don't even think he would raise to 24. I think, if he has one of those things, he's just come over the top, and then we're giving up our equity. So I don't like raising the flush draws. I don't like raising the open enders. For those reasons, I think we have value. So I think we're going to be calling those. I think we're going to probably raise a set. Probably raise like these small pairs. And we're raising because we're kind of vulnerable. He bet. We're going to raise these as our bluffs. I think it's going to be hard for him to continue. We raise, and the hand and the like any diamond comes, he's going to have a hard time continuing any sort of straight card. So we're looking at ace. I'd say ace 3, 8, 6, and 7 are also continuing cards, but I think players would more than likely give me credit for an open ender. Would I have a 6-3? Yeah, maybe. So you could say ace 2, 3, 7, 8, 6s. Probably not. I don't think we're gonna necessarily get the fold, but those cards, the diamonds, even like king queen could also be good. Maybe jack, because we're raising it and could be like a top pair type hand, or maybe even an overpair. And then calling, I think we're going to call like our overpair, our top pair. Now we're going to call our draws, our open enders. I think even our gut shots are probably what we're going to call here. And I'm going to say our overcards. But I think the overcards, maybe some backdoor flush draws. So we're calling with those. We're only getting spades. Should have the lone diamonds too. Should have the lone diamonds. So let's see what I do. I just call. So I think this was probably a mistake. I think I should have raised this up with 6s. Be aggressive. Attack him. So the turn comes out, and I think that would be a suitable range because I think he has a lot of underpairs. He checks, had I raised and he calls, he checks me, I bet. I think he's probably going to be folding this. He's not going to want to see if I have a 10 or even an overpair. So now villain checks. I don't think he's checking his 3 of a kind, but we are going to set it at like 50%. Say he can, but then I think he's folding everything else or checking everything else here. And once he checks, now we should probably go on the lead. I think here we should probably be betting most hands. Question is, if I bet, what kind of hands is he going to fold and call? So I do think he might think I'm playing him. This is going to be 2 streets bluff for me. So he checks, I bet. I should bet 6 or 7, and then I should follow this up with another, at least half pot size bet. Maybe larger, just to attack him. I didn't. So I think this is a mistake. I'm sure I was thinking once I check here, I'm just gonna check down with all of these hands. I think it's probably less likely that I have 3 of a kind since I checked, and probably less likely that I have one of these overpairs. So I think I'm putting myself at one of these unders and the no-made hand, which could include flush draws. And then 3 spades hits. If he checks, he's definitely, we're tossing out all of those. We're looking at that range and what kind of hands are going. See, I think it's going to be hard. If I bet here, it's going to be hard for him to just fold. I think he's going to look at it and say, well, maybe I'm bluffing, and probably call with any pair. So I think once I checked, that turn, I kind of give up any possibility of bluffing. So I've got full house and straight, and then it's just going to have to be, you know, a nothing type of hand, something that maybe is, let's color those up. Maybe something like this. Maybe just those cards would be a bet. I didn't, so I think there's a lot of mistakes in this hand. We see the river, and he shows ace 3. Did he have ace 3 in his range? No, he didn't. If we move it, it's kind of interesting because he donked and he didn't have a pair. So we do have that note here. Donked half pot with ace 3 off on a 10-5-4. Check turn without a pair. So check turn without check turn and river. Check T and R without a pair. So we missed this hand, but I think being aggressive, he leads. We bet the turn. I think we raise. We raise the flop. I think it's going to be hard for him to continue. Even if he calls the flop, it's going to be hard for him to continue on the turn. So I made a mistake on this hand. Have to be aggressive. And I wasn't. So hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another.